what happens when the glossy veneer of a decade-long reality television relationship is just like systematically dismantled piece by painful piece?
In a basement studio, in front of millions of people.
Literally a basement. We are talking psychological warfare, gaping timeline discrepancies, and honestly, absolute PR masterclasses. Babes, welcome back.
We love you. We see you.
We really do. And honestly, reunion episodes should qualify as cardio because, I mean, our heart rates are just through the roof right now.
Oh, I am literally sweating. My Apple Watch actually tapped my wrist halfway through part 1 and asked if I was doing an intense elliptical workout.
No way. Did it really?
I swear. I was like, no, Siri, my heart rate is at 140 beats per minute because I'm currently watching Amanda and Kyle burn down a decade of history on a tiny, terribly upholstered couch.
It was so tiny. But yeah, I am still recovering. Snark Squad, if you are listening right now on your commute or, at the gym or hiding in your office bathroom to avoid your boss, we are with you in the trenches.
Fully in the trenches.
We've got espresso martinis on deck right now because, let's be real, we're going to need a serious mix of heavy caffeine and strong cocktails to survive this level of Bravo-induced anxiety.
100%.
So cheers to the Snark Squad, and cheers to surviving another brutal workday.
Cheers to that, bestie. And, cheers to the sweet, chaotic release of reality television where other people's problems are significantly messier than our own.
So much messier.
And we get to just judge them from the comfort of our living rooms.
Amen to that. But, speaking of work days, we have to debrief for a second. Because as our Snark Squad knows, when we are not sitting here dissecting the lives of in the CityCast...
And analyzing their text messages, like the FBI.
Right, like literal investigators. We are actual, real-life dentists trying to save teeth across this beautiful, chaotic city. And today was, it was a day.
A day. An absolute saga of a day. Please tell me your high and low, because my nervous system just needs to know that someone else was suffering today just as much as I was.
Okay, so my high... I actually had the sweetest moment, and it honestly grounded me. I had this little 7-year-old patient who was absolutely terrified of getting a filling.
Oh, no, poor thing.
I'm talking shaking, tears welling up in his eyes, just clutching his mom's hand so hard his knuckles were white. And, the clinical environment can be so overstimulating for a kid.
Totally.
The bright overhead lights, the high-pitched hum of the drills, the smell of the sterile wipes. It's a lot. So we just stopped.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we took a breath, and we sat and talked about Minecraft for like 20 solid minutes. I let him hold the little plastic suction mirror. I explained how every single tool worked so there were no surprises, and by the end of it, so unbelievably brave.
Stop. I love that.
He didn't flinch once. He gave me a massive high five and a sticker he brought from home. It was one of those moments that just made me genuinely smile and remember why the grueling years of dental school were actually worth it.
Oh, stop. That is actually precious. See, this is why you are the emotional compass of this show. You are such an empathetic angel. You hold space for people, even 7-year-olds with cavities. But knowing your clinic, the low had to be a complete logistical nightmare to balance out that burst of joy.
Oh, completely. My low was right after lunch, right when the espresso wore off. We had this unexpectedly chaotic double booking situation.
Oof, the worst.
The front desk scheduling software glitched, and suddenly I had 2 complex root canal consults and an emergency extraction all scheduled for the exact same 2:00 p.m. slot.
What? All at 2:00 p.m.?
All of them. I was sprinting between operating rooms, literally sweating through my scrubs, just questioning every career decision I've ever made.
I would be in tears.
I looked in the mirror at one point, washing my hands for the 50th time, and thought, why didn't I just go into interior design?
Right, self-throw pillows.
Exactly.
Right.
But then, you get the patients out of pain, you save some smiles, and you realize you actually do love the adrenaline of it all, but the stress.
Unmatched.
Unmatched. Until turn on Bravo, of course.
Exactly. What about you, girl? Give me the highs and lows from your side of the city. I need to hear the drama. Okay, so my high was gloriously, unapologetically petty. You know the shared audio system we have in the clinic?
Oh, yes, the infamous Spotify wars. I know it well.
Exactly. So my coworker, who shall remain nameless, but you know exactly who I'm talking about, kept overriding my upbeat pop anthems with this incredibly depressing, acoustic, indie folk, sad boy music.
Oh, no. In a dental office.
Yes. Like, babe, people are already anxious about being at the dentist. Yeah. Their blood pressure is elevated. We do not need Bon Iver whispering about an isolated cabin in the woods while I have a high-speed drill millimeters away from their nerve endings.
That is a literal recipe for clinical depression in the dental chair.
Yeah.
You need good vibes only.
Right. So, as a hilariously petty, sarcastic moment, I covertly logged into the main system from my iPad in my operatory. And every time one of his sad, slow songs hit the chorus, I seamlessly transitioned it into the loudest, most aggressive Chapel Roan and Charlie XCX tracks right at the
Oh
drop.
my God, you didn't.
I did. The look of pure, unadulterated confusion on his face when Pink Pony Club started blasting over the intercom was the highlight of my entire week.
You are an absolute menace. I love it. You are basically producing the soundtrack to your own reality show.
Yeah.
And the low.
Oh, the low was the busiest part of the day. Peak afternoon rush. A patient came in, sat in the chair, and literally tried to argue with me about their dental x-rays.
Wait, what?
I pulled up the panoramic scan on the monitor, pointed to the massive, undeniable black shadow of the cavity decaying the tooth structure, and they looked me dead in the eye and said, "I don't think that's a cavity. I think it's just a smudge on the screen."
A smudge.
Yes. They said, "My holistic TikTok doctor says cavities are a myth perpetuated by the fluoride industry."
Oh my God, you cannot be serious.
Yeah.
They argued with a literal radiograph.
I wanted to slowly lower the chair all the way back, turn off the light, and walk out of the building. Arguing with literal scientific photographic evidence. It is exhausting. But you know what? It prepared me perfectly for this reunion episode.
It is so funny we say all this because honestly, laughing about it now, even a fully booked, completely chaotic dental clinic where people argue with x-rays has significantly less drama and delusion than Andy Cohen's reunion stage.
Seriously. My patient denying a visible cavity on an x-ray is absolutely nothing compared to Amanda denying she was spitting in West's mouth in 4K paparazzi footage. But we will get there.
We will. But it actually makes me wonder, imagine if Bravo called us. Just humor me for a second. Imagine if Andy stepped down or just took a sick day and the network hired the two of us to host this reunion.
Oh, babe. The ratings would shatter records. The FCC would probably fine us for aggressive questioning, but it would be legendary.
It would be so messy. Let's role play this for a second. If we are sitting in those hosting chairs, the cameras are rolling, the cast is sweating, what is the very first question you are asking?
I am not even doing pleasantries. I am not asking how everyone's summer was or complimenting their outfits. I am looking dead at Amanda, tapping my cue cards, and immediately pressing her on the timeline. Immediately. I want dates, I want timestamps, I want Uber receipts.
Yeah.
Amanda, on what specific Tuesday did you officially cross the line with West Wilson? No warm-up, straight into the interrogation. You have to catch them off guard before their PR training kicks in.
See, you are terrifying. If I were hosting, my first caution would be a genuine check-in. I would look around that room, at Kyle looking completely exhausted, at Lindsay looking tense with her jaw clenched, and I would genuinely want to check in on everyone's mental health.
Oh, please.
No, seriously, guys, this has been an incredibly toxic, volatile year for this group. How are our nervous systems doing? Are we breathing? I think everyone deserves a safe space to unpack their trauma and their feelings before we dive into the combat.
And that, bestie, is why you would lose the viewers in the first 5 minutes. A safe space. On a Bravo reunion? Absolutely not. This is the Roman Colosseum of reality television. They are paid to bleed for our entertainment.
Okay, that's a little dark, but I get it.
Let me ask you this. Would you let people interrupt each other?
I really wouldn't. I feel like absolutely nothing gets resolved when everyone is screaming over each other. It just escalates their cortisol levels and no one actually listens. I would literally bring a talking pillow.
What?
Like a sequin Bravo-branded talking pillow, and only the person holding the pillow gets to speak. If you interrupt, you lose your pillow privileges for the segment.
A talking pillow. Are we at a middle school sleepover? Are we at a corporate retreat trust fall exercise? No, absolutely not.
It promotes active listening.
If I am hosting, I say let them fight. Interruptions are exactly where the truth slips out. When they stick to the rehearsed monologues, we get lies. I want them talking over each other, getting flustered, losing their train of thought, because that's when the facade breaks and the actual facts spill out. I just sit back, sip my drink, and watch the chaos unfold.
You are a messy tyrant. You would just sit there with a clipboard of printed out text messages, watching them destroy each other's lives.
A clipboard? Honey, I'd have a PowerPoint presentation projected behind me with a laser pointer. But honestly, out of this cast, who do you think would be the hardest cast member to interview?
Oh, that's a really tough one. I actually think Lindsay would be the hardest.
Really? Why?
Not because she isn't smart, but because she is almost too smart for the format. She is a PR mastermind. She knows exactly how to control the narrative. She utilizes this tactic where she pivots away from questions she doesn't like, by answering a completely different question with such high decibel conviction that you forget what you originally asked her.
That is so true.
Right. Trying to get her off script and genuinely vulnerable is like trying to crack a bank vault.
That's a great analysis of her media training, but I completely disagree. I think Amanda would be the hardest to interview.
Really, Amanda.
Yeah. Because Lindsay will fight you, she will spar with you, which gives you incredible television. Amanda just disassociates.
Oh, true.
She retreats into this protective shell. She gives you these flat, one-word answers, or she leans on the phrase, "I don't remember." How do you interview a brick wall that is actively refusing to engage? It's impossible. You can't interrogate apathy.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Our hosting styles would be hilarious together. I'd be too busy trying to give everyone a second chance to explain their deepest, darkest feelings and childhood wounds, and you'd be slamming a gavel demanding they read their deleted direct messages out loud to the studio audience.
It's a balance of the universe, girl. Good cop, messy cop. And speaking of messy, let's talk about receipts for a second. Because you know I live for a receipt. The digital footprint has changed reality TV forever.
You are the absolute queen of screenshots.
I am. What is your funniest real-life receipt moment? Because I know you keep them too, even with your sweet, peaceful disposition.
Okay, yes. I try to be the peacemaker, but I have my moments of vindication. A few months ago, my family had this massive, sprawling debate over who picked this absolutely terrible, overpriced, awful seafood restaurant for my cousin's birthday dinner 2 years ago.
Oh, family debates are the best.
Everyone was blaming me. They were like, "You love oysters. This was your idea. It was a culinary disaster." I literally sat in silence, opened my phone, scrolled back through 2 years of the family group chat, and found the ancient text message from my aunt explicitly demanding we go to this exact restaurant because she saw it featured on some morning show.
Yes. Expose her.
I screenshot it, circled it in bright red markup, and dropped it into the chat. The sheer silence that followed was delicious.
The vindication. There's no better feeling in the world than a verified timestamp. It is irrefutable data.
What about you? What's your pettiest receipt moment?
This is slightly embarrassing, but whatever. I have a friend who is notoriously flaky and always rewrites history to make herself look like the victim of circumstance. She swore up and down she was at home violently sick with the flu on a Friday night, which is why she bailed on my dinner plans at the last second.
Oh, I hate that.
But babe, I had screenshotted a deleted Instagram story of her at a crowded bar taking tequila shots.
You didn't.
I did. She posted it by accident and deleted it after like 3 minutes, but I snagged it just in case. A month later, we were in a petty debate about timelines and who cancels on who more often, and I just casually texted her the photo of the tequila shot. Check and mate.
You screenshot deleted stories. You are operating at an FBI level. That is terrifying.
I stay ready so I don't have to get ready. And honestly, isn't it completely fascinating how everyone, us, the fans, the cast, we all suddenly become these elite open source intelligence investigators during reunion season?
That's a full-time job.
We are pausing frames of video. We are analyzing the reflections in people's sunglasses and background photos. We are cross-referencing the dates of Instagram grid posts with Venmo transactions. It has fundamentally changed how we consume these shows.
It really has. We are all detectives now.
But babes, enough about our own receipts. Let's head to the reunion stage where nobody can escape the playback footage.
Yes. Welcome to the Clubhouse of Chaos. Okay, first things first. Before we get into the screaming matches, we have to talk about the vibe check and the set design. Because I was immediately thrown off the second the recap started.
Thrown off is an understatement. I had visual whiplash.
Right. The reunion took place in the Watch What Happens Live Clubhouse studio. Not a traditional sprawling reunion set with the gorgeous thematic backdrops and the massive, luxurious couches. They were crammed into the WWHL studio.
Crammed is the word. Going from those lavish summer house reunion sets where they build like a fake Hamptons Beach with sand and miles of physical space to the cramped clubhouse, honestly, it feels like moving from the Four Seasons to a youth hostel.
Hostel.
And we have to talk about the psychological impact of that set design.
Right.
It was so claustrophobic. You have these massive, volatile personalities and giant egos, and they are basically sitting on top of each other in a basement.
It really was. The physical proximity was shocking. But, I was looking at it from an emotional perspective, and I couldn't help but think it must be so humbling for a reality TV veteran like Lindsay.
Oh, totally.
She has been on Bravo for almost a decade. She showed up dressed for a massive, sweeping stage. She had the heavy gown, the intense glam, the posture of a seasoned pro, and she is crammed into the basement. Like it's a 2014 late-night post show. It was started from the bottom, now we're back at the bottom.
Exactly. She's giving Met Gala, and the set was giving public access television. But think about the production economics and the psychology here. The WWHL clubhouse is tiny. The cameras are practically in their laps.
There's no room to breathe.
And the heat from the studio lighting in a confined space naturally raises their core body temperatures. Physiologically, when you shrink the physical space and increase the temperature, you force immediate, unavoidable eye contact. It is a literal pressure cooker.
It raises cortisol levels instantly.
And it virtually guarantees volatile television. They couldn't physically retreat from the arguments. But speaking of aesthetics, we have to talk about the fashion, specifically Amanda.
Oh, yes. Amanda proudly announced right out of the gate that she styled herself and did her own hair and makeup for this reunion.
She wore this white lace, almost doily-like two-piece situation.
See, I want to give him credit here. I think it takes a lot of guts to forego the Bravo glam squad when you know you are going into the hot seat. I thought she looked really natural, really pretty.
Pretty, sure, but...
The white lace was soft, and, she's trying to present this very calm, natural aura. I give her props for trying to stay true to herself instead of wearing some heady, uncomfortable sequin gown.
Bestie, I love your heart, and I know you want to see the best in her, but I have to analyze this from a PR perspective. Did the DIY look actually serve unbothered, or did it serve, I threw this together because I couldn't be bothered?
I mean, I think it was intentional.
Historically, in reality TV, when a star knows they are guilty or heading into a massive scandal, they purposefully dress down. Think of it as the courtroom cardigan effect.
Oh, the courtroom cardigan.
Yes. They want to appear small, innocent, and relatable. But when you are sitting in the hot seat for arguably the biggest scandal of your television career, blowing up a marriage, I feel like you need armor. You need a structured shoulder. You need a power lip. The doily two-piece just felt like she was ready for a nap at a beach club, not a battle with her ex-husband. It felt like a calculated attempt to play the fragile victim.
That's a really interesting point about the courtroom cardigan. It wasn't exactly battle armor, but let's get into the actual battle. The Amanda, Kyle, and West triangle of doom.
The darkest, messiest timeline we have ever witnessed.
So Andy Cohen immediately brings up the viral paparazzi photo of Amanda and West in Italy. Everyone saw this picture on the blogs. It looked exactly like they were aggressively spitting into each other's mouths on a cobblestone street.
Aggressive.
But Amanda tries to clear it up. She claims she wasn't spitting in his mouth. They were just passing an olive.
An olive. An olive, girl.
I know.
First of all, let's dissect the mechanics of passing an olive mouth to mouth on a public street for the paparazzi. It is not the defense you think it is. It's still disgusting.
It doesn't make the visual any better.
It just adds sodium to the grossness. And second of all, let's talk about how paparazzi operate. You do not just stumble into a paparazzi photographer on a random cobblestone street in a small Italian village unless someone called them.
True.
This was a staged photo op that looked incredibly weird because the micro expressions of spitting fluid versus passing solid food are completely different. The PR spin on this was atrocious.
It was very bird-feeding. It's young.
Yeah.
The optics were terrible. But the bigger, much more serious revelation was when Andy pressed her on her completely checked-out behavior at the Summer House reunion a few weeks ago. She admitted on camera to taking a beta blocker to handle her anxiety, which is why she was, in her words, disassociating and staring at the ceiling.
Okay, here is where my mental clipboard of receipts comes out. Tap, tap, tap. I am pulling up the documentation. Because West, her own boyfriend, previously did a whiteboard interview with a digital media outlet where he accidentally outed her. He explicitly wrote down that she was on Xanax, not just a beta blocker for heart rate, but Xanax. Why the lie, Amanda?
That is a huge discrepancy, and I don't think a lot of people realize how different those two medications are.
Exactly. Let's talk about the literal physiological mechanisms here because the lie is infuriating. Beta blockers like propranolol block adrenaline and noradrenaline. They stop the physical autonomic symptoms of the fight-or-flight response. They stop your hands from shaking. They stop your voice from quivering. They lower your racing heart.
Right.
But they do not alter your cognitive state. You do not disassociate and forget where you are on a standard dose of a beta blocker. Xanax, on the other hand, is a benzodiazepine. It works on the GABA receptors in the brain to slow down the central nervous system.
Which alters everything.
That alters your brain chemistry. That causes the glassy eyes, the memory loss, the disassociation she was displaying. She claimed beta blockers because it sounds relatable, like, oh, I just had stage fright. She didn't want to admit she was heavily medicated on a benzo to survive, answering for her actions.
Okay, I hear your logic, and the medical breakdown is totally valid. The discrepancy with West's interview is glaring. But I have to push back here and offer some emotional empathy. Imagine the sheer suffocating panic of her situation.
I mean, she brought it on herself.
But anxiety is a very real, very physical, crippling thing. I can completely understand why she would take medication, whatever it was, beta blocker or Xanax, to physically survive that day on set. Couldn't you see how terrifying it must be to sit across from Kyle, your ex-husband of 10 years who you share businesses and dogs with, and an entire cast of people who actively hate your new relationship?
Her nervous system was probably fried, sure.
It must have been absolutely on fire. I think she deserves a chance to explain her coping mechanisms, even if she fumbled the delivery and lied about the specific prescription. She was in survival mode.
I have endless empathy for clinical anxiety. I do not have empathy for weaponizing mental health to dodge accountability and lying to cover your tracks. Because right after she plays the disassociation card to get Andy to back off, she suddenly finds the absolute clarity to drop a nuclear bomb on the conversation.
The bombshell of the century. My jaw hit the floor.
Amanda alleges, on camera, in front of everyone, that Kyle slept with someone else while they were still legally married.
The way Kyle looked when she said that, it was devastating.
Right.
He expressed such deep, profound hurt over this entire timeline overlap. You could literally see the pain in his eyes. And the worst part for him, the thing that broke my heart, wasn't even Amanda moving on with someone new.
Yeah, it was West.
He said he felt utterly betrayed by West. Because, in his words, they were boys.
That is the ultimate reality TV tragedy, the bro code violation. And it brings up the massive gray area of separation. Amanda is using the technicality of being legally married to brand Kyle a cheater while ignoring the fact that they were physically and emotionally separated.
It's a technicality.
It is a strategic pivot to make him the villain of the timeline. But let's pivot to Kyle's single life, because the man is clearly going through a bizarre renaissance. He reveals to the group that he is having sober sex now, which, honestly, good for you, Kyle, a major developmental milestone for a 40-something Bravo star.
A milestone we did not necessarily need to know about in such graphic detail, but as the empathetic host, we support growth and healthy lifestyle choices.
We do. But then we have to discuss the visual comedy of the tippy-toe kiss. The paparazzi caught Kyle making out with Meghan King from Orange County, and he was literally on his tippy toes to reach her. The biomechanics of that kiss were astounding.
It was giving middle school dance. It was giving, I need a step stool. But it doesn't stop with Meghan King. He's also openly going on dates with Sally Carson.
Right. And babes, I have to bring in the external gossip, the extended Bravo universe lore, because it is all connected.
The belt.
Lala Kent from Vanderpump Rules said on her podcast that she heard directly from Sally that Kyle is an absolute menace and a killer in bed.
I am physically blushing. I cannot believe we are sitting here discussing Kyle Cooke's glowing Yelp reviews for his bedroom performance. But honestly, hearing Amanda's reaction to all of this was fascinating. She tried so hard to play it off like they're just cool, modern exes who chuckle about his sex life.
They do not chuckle about it. Her face was completely cracked. She was clenching her jaw. She wanted to project unbothered doily energy, but she was seething. And this brings us to Danielle Oliveira's take, which was arguably the strongest, most grounded point of the entire segment.
Oh, absolutely.
Danielle cut through all the noise, looked Amanda in the eye, and said she was disappointed, and that Amanda really just needed to take time to be alone and heal instead of jumping right onto the next branch with West.
Danielle was so incredibly spot on. She spoke for the audience. And before we move on, we just have to pause and send so much love to Danielle. We heard the news that she delivered her baby early on Labor Day.
Oh, yeah, so scary.
It's such a terrifying, overwhelming situation for any mother to go through an early delivery, but we hear the baby is getting stronger every single day in the NICU, so we are sending all our positive healing energy to Danielle and her little one.
Absolutely. So much love and light to Danielle. She is a powerhouse. But back to the clubhouse, because the mother talk did not stop there.
Oh.
We have to dive into the absolute bloodbath that was the Lindsay versus Whitney single mom card explosion.
This segment had me screaming at my television screen. So for the Snark Squad who needs the context, earlier in the season, Whitney accused Lindsay of using the single mom card to demand the massive, luxurious master suite on a cast trip over Yvonne and Nick, who were literally newlyweds.
A very bold, classic reality TV move by Lindsay, hijacking the newlywed suite.
Right. So at the reunion, Whitney tries to issue an apology. She claims she didn't mean to attack Lindsay's actual motherhood. She meant to call out Lindsay's entitlement. Whitney argues that because Lindsay has a full-time nanny and immense financial resources, she doesn't struggle the way a, quote, typical single mom does.
And Lindsay's reaction? Nuclear.
As it absolutely should be. Lindsay completely unequivocally rejects the apology. She says she cried for 6 months over that comment. She said she almost threw up watching the episode back, and she looks Whitney dead in the face and tells her she owes 15 more apologies to any mom in the entire world. And babe, I am getting so invested here. I have to passionately, fiercely defend Lindsay and Georgina's hustle on this one.
Oh boy, here we go. Put on your sociology hat.
No, listen to me. This is so important. Having a nanny does not invalidate the struggles of single motherhood. Whitney equating having money for childcare with not being a real single mom is a deeply insidious patriarchal talking point that pits working mothers against each other.
Okay, I hear you, but
Lindsay is hustling. She's doing massive brand deals, recording podcasts, starring on reality TV, dealing with the public scrutiny of her romantic life, all to provide a beautiful, secure life for her kid. The invisible labor of motherhood, the mental load, the emotional regulation, the constant worry is crushing, regardless of your tax bracket. Whitney hit way below the belt. You do not gatekeep motherhood struggles just because someone can afford help. It was nasty, it was ignorant, and I fully stand with Lindsay's outrage.
Okay, calm down, take a breath. That was a beautiful defense of working mothers, but let me push back because you are falling for the PR spin.
I am ready. Give me the logic.
I agree that Whitney fumbled the delivery terribly. Bringing up the nanny was a rookie mistake that allowed Lindsay to take the moral high ground, but you, T, let me ask you this. Isn't it true that Lindsay was acting incredibly entitled to that room?
What?
Whitney had a completely valid point about the behavior. Lindsay utilized her child as a human shield to secure a larger hotel room and manipulate the production logistics of the trip. Lindsay just bulldozed everyone to get the best room, and Whitney weaponized the wrong words to call it out. Lindsay isn't crying for the mothers of the world. She's crying because she got caught being selfish. And she executed a PR masterclass by making it about all mothers to deflect from her own bad behavior.
I mean, okay, yes, Lindsay wanted the big room. But she works hard. I still think the delivery was unforgivable.
And then the minions jump in. Kenny, trying to be the white knight, jumps in to defend his girlfriend, and he delivers the absolute line of the night. He looks at Lindsay and says, "You collect apologies like souls."
A chilling Shakespearean read.
Poetic cinema. The accuracy was staggering. And then Amanda, of all people, finding her voice for 5 seconds, chimes in and points out the group dynamics. She says that whenever Lindsay gets questioned or backed into a corner, her friends Georgina and Yvonne act like minions who jump in and answer the questions for her.
I hated this characterization. Are they minions or are they just loyal besties? Like, think about us. If someone came for you on a reunion stage, I wouldn't sit there silently and let you drown. I would jump in and aggressively defend you. That is what girls do. That is what a squad does. They protect each other.
Babe, there is a fundamental difference between having a supportive squad and having contracted spokespeople. Lindsay doesn't even have to speak. She just shifts her eyes, and Georgina starts barking on command. It's giving Regina George and the Plastics. It is a psychological shield. Lindsay surrounds herself with people who will fight her battles so she can keep her hands clean.
I think it's just fierce loyalty. But we will disagree.
Well, the loyalty wasn't saving Kenny and Whitney from the hot seat.
Yeah.
Let's shift to their messy margins, because this was fascinating.
Yes, so the group is heavily judging Whitney because she packed up her life and moved entirely across the country for Kenny without an engagement ring.
The horror. The scandal.
And Kenny is forced to defend his murky, non-committal comments from the season about their relationship timeline. He explains that he was deeply grieving his mother's sudden death during filming, and that trauma made him feel totally numb and incapable of making long-term commitments.
And cue the tears from you, right? Because you love a vulnerability moment.
I was highly emotional. I am so empathetic toward Kenny in that moment. We have to analyze the psychology of grief. Grief is an absolute monster. It literally rewires the neural pathways in your brain. It puts you in a state of constant survival. It makes it impossible to plan for tomorrow, let alone forever. I truly believe he deserves grace for his communication failures during the season. He wasn't trying to string Whitney along. He was just trying to survive the sheer suffocating loss of his mom.
Look, grief is awful, and I sympathize with that loss, but I also have to ask sarcastically, look at this through a 2026 lens. Why is moving for love without a ring treated like a felony by this cast? People do it every single day. You pack a bag, you sign a lease, you try it out. If it doesn't work, you break the lease and move out. They acted like Whitney committed treason against feminism by moving for a man without a diamond. The societal expectations they were projecting onto her were so outdated. But the messiest part of this segment wasn't even Kenny and Whitney, it was Gavin.
Oh, I live for Gavin. He is television gold.
Gavin ends up crying after a private chat with Kenny, and we have to talk about the unaired drama that is rumbling in the background, this rumor that is tearing through the Bravo blogs, where Kenny allegedly called Gavin the Bernie Madoff of hospitality.
I am absolutely obsessed with that insult. It is so specific and so damaging. What does that even mean? Is Gavin running a Ponzi scheme with bottle service?
Exactly. Gavin is the most fascinating addition to this cast. Let's dissect his reality TV archetype. He is the instigator who plays the victim. He has an absolute unquenchable thirst for camera time. He physically inserts himself into the background of every single fight, and he cries on command to ensure he gets a reaction shot. It is messiness at its finest. He knows exactly what his job is on this show, and he is clocking it.
He really is. Okay, we have unpacked the heavy drama, the psychology, and the mechanics. Now it is time to give out our official awards. Welcome to segment 1. Receipt of the night.
Let's get into it. The data analysis portion of the show, Category 1, biggest revelation.
For me, without a doubt, the biggest revelation was Amanda accusing Kyle of sleeping with someone while they were still legally married. It completely flipped the entire script of the season. We spent months thinking Amanda was the absolute villain for moving on with West, and suddenly she drops this reverse Uno card that completely recontextualizes Kyle's tears.
I agree. Structurally, that was massive. But I still need the receipts on that timeline. Legal separation versus physical separation is a huge gray area. My biggest revelation was that Kyle Cooke is having sober sex. I never thought I would see the day that man operated without a functioning BAC level. Category 2, best comeback.
Okay, my favorite comeback was Lindsay snapping at Whitney. You owe 15 more apologies to any mom in the entire world. As I said earlier, it was so dramatic, so sweeping, so intensely emotional. She really stood up for the mothers, even if it was a PR pivot.
It was dramatic, but it was given community theater. It was rehearsed. The actual best comeback was Kenny. You collect apologies like souls. It was incisive, it was terrifyingly accurate, and it completely neutralized Lindsay for a solid 5 seconds, which is a miraculous feat of verbal judo.
We will have to agree to disagree. I think Lindsay won that exchange.
Right.
What is your strongest argument of the night?
The strongest argument goes to Danielle Oliveira. She cut through all the noise, all the deflection, looked at Amanda and said, logically, you should have just been single and healed. You blew up your 10-year life. You need intensive therapy. Not a man who accidentally tells a reporter, you take Xanax on a whiteboard. It was pure, unadulterated logic.
I completely agree with you there. Danielle's emotional impact was spot on. She spoke the absolute truth and the most shocking moment.
The olive spitting defense, I will never, ever look at a martini the same way again. It was the worst lie I have ever heard on television.
The truly haunting imagery. Okay, moving on to segment 2. Who came prepared? Who had the best reunion performance?
For me, it is Lindsay Hubbard. She never backs down. She holds an absolute ironclad poker face. Whether you love her or hate her, whether you think she is a PR mastermind or a genuine victim, she knows how to clock in and do her job on a reunion stage. She controls the pace of the conversation.
I'll give you that. She is a consummate professional. But for biggest accountability, I am giving it to Kyle Cooke. He sat there, admitted he is still deeply processing the trauma of the divorce, owned up to his messy, chaotic, single-guy hookups, and didn't try to hide behind a PR statement or a medical excuse. He just said, yeah, I'm a mess.
I love that vulnerability. And biggest deflection. Batula. Period. End of sentence. Using beta blockers and disassociation to completely dodge the timeline questions, blaming her anxiety so Andy would feel bad and stop pressing her, it was a masterclass in weaponized deflection.
I have to defend her slightly again. Anxiety is real, but yes, structurally, it did work to get the heat off her and shut down the interrogation.
Yeah.
Who was the person who changed your opinion the most?
I will admit, Kenny really changed my view of him. Hearing his deep explanation about his grief and feeling emotionally numb, it softened my heart toward him. I spent the whole season thinking he was just a jerk stringing Whitney along, but now I see a wounded guy trying to figure out how to live without his mother. See, I need receipts for that. I rigorously, aggressively debate this choice. I am not ready to hand Kenny the accountability title just because he played the grief card at the 11th hour. Let's look at the timeline. He still talked poorly behind his girlfriend's back to the other guys, and he let her take the heat from Lindsay all season without defending her until the reunion. I need to see changed behavior and actual partnership in season 2 before I soften up.
You are so tough. You do not let anyone off the hook. Which brings us perfectly to segment 3, Hot Seat Rankings. Let's rank our top 5. Amanda, Kyle, Lindsay, Whitney, and Kenny. First metric, Accountability.
Yeah.
Who actually owned their mess, ranked lowest to highest.
Lowest is Amanda. Zero accountability. Just passing olives and making excuses. Then Whitney, because she apologized but immediately walked it back by arguing semantics. Then Kenny, who blamed his bad behavior on grief. Then Lindsay, who at least owns that she is a hurricane of a human being. And highest accountability is Kyle, surprisingly, because he owned his midlife crisis.
I actually agree with that logical order. Let's do honesty. Who was actually telling the truth?
Amanda is at the absolute bottom. Below the bottom, subterranean, she is lying about the timeline, lying about the medication, lying about her feelings for West.
I feel like Whitney is pretty honest, just maybe incredibly naive about how her words land. And Lindsay is honest about her feelings, even if her facts are heavily skewed by her emotions and her need to win the argument.
What about composure? Who kept their cool under the studio lights?
Lindsay. She didn't raise her voice, she just stared absolute daggers. Her heart rate probably never spiked. Whitney lost her composure completely and started crying. Amanda just shut down, which isn't composure, it's fleeing the scene mentally.
So our overall reunion performance ranking from worst to best, based on all these metrics.
Number 5, Amanda. Number 4, Whitney. Number 3, Kenny. Number 2, Kyle. And number 1, the PR queen herself, Lindsay.
I co-sign that ranking. The receipts and the data absolutely support it.
Finally, segment 4, part 2 predictions. Because yes, Snark Squad, there is another entire hour of this chaos coming next week. What's your biggest prediction for how this plays out?
My biggest prediction is that Amanda's accusation about Kyle cheating while they were married is going to consume the entire first 20 minutes. The producers are going to roll footage. They are going to painstakingly dissect the timeline of their legal separation versus physical separation, and it is going to be incredibly messy and litigious.
I think you're exactly right. The legal jargon is going to fly. Who do you think still has more to reveal?
Gavin. I'm telling you, Gavin is sitting on the edge of that couch, practically vibrating with unreleased energy. I suspect he is holding on to a massive, dark secret about Kenny that he is waiting for the perfect, most dramatic moment to drop so he can secure his contract for season 2.
Oh, that would be amazing. For me, the biggest unfinished storyline is whether Yvonne and Lindsay's friendship will actually survive the hotel room drama. Was their makeup genuine, or are they just faking a resolution for the cameras so that they don't look divided to the audience?
Fake. 100% fake. It's a strategic alliance, not a friendship.
And we need one completely chaotic, out-of-the-box theory for part 2. Give me your wildest guess.
Okay, my theory is that Amanda and West might accidentally let it slip that they are secretly engaged. Like they are so deep in their own delusional bubble that they reveal a ring, and the whole cast just implodes on stage.
An engagement. You are living in a romantic comedy. My chaotic theory is much darker and much more rooted in production mechanics. I theorized that the psychological tension gets so bad, the temperature in that tiny WWHL studio gets so hot that someone is going to physically walk off the set entirely, rip the mic pack off, storm out of the doors onto the street, and refuse to return. Probably Kyle when the cheating allegations get too detailed.
Oh, the drama. I cannot wait to see if you are right.
It's going to be absolute cinematic art.
Okay.
Okay, Snark Squad, it is time to turn this over to you. We have done the heavy lifting, we have analyzed the mechanics, but we need your expert opinions in our DMs immediately.
We demand answers. We need your data.
Who do you think won Reunion Part 1? Are you Team Lindsay or Team Whitney in the great single mom showdown? Did you buy the apology? And most importantly, what is the one burning, undeniable question you would ask if you were sitting in Andy Cohen's chair holding those blue hosting cards?
Let us know. But before we go, I want to leave you all with a final, completely unhinged, provocative thought to mull over while you try to fall asleep tonight.
Oh no, what is it? Prepare me.
What if Amanda's extreme anxiety, the alleged beta blockers, the totally uncharacteristic disassociation, the refusal to drink alcohol on set, what if all of that is actually a massive cover-up? What if she is hiding a pregnancy right now, which would completely fundamentally change the stakes and the entire filming schedule for season 2?
My jaw is literally on the floor. If she is pregnant with West's baby, the internet will fundamentally break.
Think about it, babes. The biological pieces fit the narrative.
I am spiraling. Thank you all so much for tuning in and surviving this chaos with us. You are the absolute best listeners in the world.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a glowing 5-star review, and share this show with another reality, TV-loving babe in your life.
Stay shady, stay curious, and we'll see you on the snark side.